Welcome to this video on relations and functions. By the end of this video, you should be able to determine if a relation is a function using multiple representations, and you should also be able to determine if a graph is a function using the vertical line test. Alright, so before we can make any of those determinations, we have to know what a function is. So a function is a relationship between values. It's where for each input x, it has exactly one output y. So what it means is the x value can only be used once for a relation to be considered a function. So if I had a bunch of points, so if I had, say, 0, 6, 2, 3, 5, 9, and then I had a net, so if I look, I have a 0, I have a 2, and I have a 5. None of the x's repeated, so I'm okay there. But if I look at this one, this x value, -1, was used here and here with two different outputs, so that is not going to be a function. So that's what we're looking for. We're looking for x values that repeat. So let's determine if these are functions or relations. So we got 5, 3, 2, 0, -1. These are all different x's, so this is a function. Okay, and then when we look at number 2, we have -2, 0, 2, 3, 2. This 2 was repeated here and they have different y values. That does not work, so this is not a function. I want you to try the next two on your own. Pause the video and come back and see how you did. Alright, so for number 3, and looking through, the -3 repeats and it has different y values. If they had the same y value, it's the same point, so it won't matter. But these have different y values, so they're different points, not a function. And on number 4, all the x values are unique. They do not repeat. Alright, so that's one representation that we can use, is we can use these points. Now, we talked about our table of values when we talked about the relations organizer. These are just the points written in a different format. And so you want to do the same thing. You want to look at the x values to see if the x values repeat and determine, is this a function or not? So I got 3, -1, 0, 2, 3. Oh, I have 3, 3, and then 3, 5. Those are not the same point. They're the same x's with two different y's, so this is not a function. Let's look at number 6, -4, -2, 1, 2, 5. We're okay there. None of those x values repeated, so we'll say yes, this is a function. Number 7, -5, -3, 0, 1, 2. None of those x's repeat. We're going to say yes, it's a function. What I'd like you to do is pause the video and try 8, 9, and 10 on your own, and let's see how you did. Well, when I look at number 8, I saw that the 4 was used twice in my x value with two different y's, so that's not a function. None of my x values repeated in 9, so yes, it is a function. And same with 10. None of my x values repeated, so it is a function. So we've now looked at two different representations. We looked at points written as points. We've looked at an XY table. Now we're going to look at our mappings. Remember, we took our domain and range and we put it in our mappings. And so what you're looking for is each x to only be used once. So the 3 only has one arrow from it. The 1 only has one arrow from it. The 2 only has one arrow. And the 4 only has one arrow. So yes, number 11 is a function. Now when we look at 12, right here, look right there. The 1, -1, has two arrows coming off of it. That means it was used twice and they're going to different places. One time is -1 and one time is 7. So it's used twice with two different y's. So this is not a function. All right, try this last one all on your own and let's see how you did. All right, so I've got one arrow coming from each of the x values, so yes, this is a function. All right, let's turn this over and take a look at the backside for our vertical line test. So when you're given a graph, if you want to determine if this is a function or a relation, you want to use the vertical line test. So the vertical line test is if a vertical line intersects a graph more than once, then it is not a function, because a vertical line, remember, is straight up and down. And so if it intersects the same graph twice, say here and here, that means those 2 points had the same x value. So the same x value was used twice with more than one output. All right, so that's why it works. So an example, so we put our axes on, and I'm going to make a parabola. So if we a lot of times you're taught to use your pencil. Does it intersect the graph more than once as you go along? No. So this is going to be an example of a function. And then for not a function, I'm going to give you a circle, because if I scan my pencil across more along, like a vertical line, it's going to hit more than one spot. That means these guys are sharing the same x value, and that's not okay when you're trying to have a function. All right, so let's look at a few graphs, and then we can determine if they're a function or a relation. So when it's a discrete graph like this, you're looking for points that line up over each other. So these 2 points line up over each other. They share the same x value, because this is -3, 1, and this is -3, -4. They both have the same x value, so this is not a function. On 15, we have another discrete graph. Remember, discrete means it's not connected by a line or a curve. None of the points line up over each other, so yes, this is a function. 16, if we scan across, use your pencil. The pencil doesn't hit the graph more than one time as you go across, so that's a function. This is actually a sideways parabola. If you draw a vertical line, you see it will hit more than once, so this is not a function. All right, so what I would like you to do is pause the video and try the last 4 all on your own, and then come back and see how you did. So in 18, I already gave you an example of this. If you draw a vertical line, it hits the graph more than once, so this is not a function. This graph, as I go across, I'm never going to hit the graph more than one time at a time, so this is, yes, a function. Number 20, here's my line. It's a vertical line. All those x values are the same. So this is not a function. Even though lines can be functions and usually are a function, this is not a function. And my last graph, this curvy line, but anytime I'm only ever touching the graph one time as I go across with my vertical line test. So yes, this is a function. Hopefully that was helpful. Let me know if you have questions. See you in class.